Uh, 2A Second Amendment self-defense law asks, why isn't the university system white supremacy? If everything's white supremacy, I guess why isn't the university system white supremacy?
It is. It is white
Yeah,
supremacy.
I think it is.
They say it explicitly. There's this talk that is given by Felix Bratheth, who is the head of the TRIO program, which is about incentivizing marginalized, whatever that means, students to get into college, right? It's basically an outreach program for low-income and minority students. And he has a bunch of these high schoolers come to the Evergreen State College campus, and this is 80 days before the protest. And they're all he's probably one of the most cringy public speakers. If you watch the series, he's just such a bad public
he's
speaker.
Totally a cringe.
But
yeah,
so bad. It's amazing how bad he is, and everybody just kind of follows. But the students aren't paying attention to him. But he keeps on showing these images of 1958 or 57, where you have black people being yelled at by white people and black people being chased by dogs and beat by police. And he keeps on flashing these images at them. And he says, you know what? My grandparents went through the same thing on the Caribbean island of, St. Croix, St. Lacroix or something like that. And he said one day the queens of the island rose up and took it back. And just like those queens of the island, you have to resist this passive-aggressive bureaucracy that's doing the same thing that these dogs and police and white people were doing. And he's just putting it. And you see in the back of the freaking auditorium, there's a kid who ends up being one of the leaders of the protests. It's a direct tie between that. And so, yes, all of this structure is white supremacy, but as long as you aim it towards gaining resources, you don't have to be consistent. Like, the rules of consistency don't apply with regards to, does one statement hold true and harmonize with another statement? That whole logic thing, that you totally disregard it. And I kind of want to make a misstep by saying you see this a lot in feminist literature where they excuse themselves of being logically consistent because it's all about the goal of restoring some form of justice or dismantling some sort of oppressive structure. And I bring up feminism because I was thinking of Samantha Bee a couple years ago. She goes on this tirade about these feminists made this Google list about Me Too men that was crowdsourced, completely blind. You could just put the name of these bad men. There's no fact checking, and this document was circulated. And Samantha Bee was she was excusing them with this crazy logic. And just 2 weeks ago or a week ago, the LA Times published this list of theaters who were not saying quickly enough that Black Lives Matter or saying it correctly enough that Black Lives Matter. It's like, that's okay for these people to do. It's okay. And they excuse that because it's going towards one goal.
You're not making a misstep to draw that comparison to feminism, because that's the angle from which I joined SJW ideology. It's all these different issues, as you know, like under one umbrella. So some people come in through the feminism route, some people come in through the critical race theory or the Black Lives Matter route, some people from the LGBT route, but they're all arriving in the same place, intersectionality, right? Yeah. And that list, I remember the list you're talking about. I have seen in the past 2 weeks, the same thing is starting to happen. On digital media, on Facebook, there are groups now called Out Your Local Racist, where people are just posting people that don't agree with them. There are people in there that haven't said anything other than, I don't believe this narrative, here are some stats. And it's like, go get him, guys. Here's where he works. And there are Google Docs now. I saw an article about a Google Doc. Students are starting to do the same thing to their fellow classmates and try and get them thrown out of school. Yeah. And there's no standard of evidence, of presenting evidence. It's just, if you post someone here, they are guilty, and the mob is going after them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they justify, like you said, they justify all of that.
Yeah. And there was that, all these different things that were totally offensive 4 years ago are standard, and we were calling it out. I was part, but there were people before me. Like, there was this calling out the social justice overreach and like, Gamergate and stuff like that. And it was kind of petty and mocking stuff. But the problem that you have with these ideas is that if everybody adopts this, everybody will, if you allow your group to do this, every group's going to do this. And you just, with the whole privilege game, with like let's inventory our privilege. Like the problem that I would have, and I would refuse to do that at Evergreen, is because, well, what happens when I reduce everybody to that, and then everybody else reduces everything to that? It's like, okay, well, that means that I'm going to be with the white people, the white men, the guys with all the guns. I would rather that not happen, so I'm not gonna initiate the process of being put into that group, and I will resist it passively. You mentioned that umbrella. There was this really big rally. It was like hundreds of thousands of people like celebrating Black Trans Lives Matter. Like there was that, okay, Black Lives Matter, but now Black Trans Lives Matter. And, the next one's going to be Disabled Black Trans Lives Matter,
Yes.
And then it'll probably be Disabled trans, it's like there's this infinite string. And the question that I have is that they're overplaying their hand, because once there are real issues with the Black community in America. I'm not arguing that. I could even say we need to have an outburst. We need people talking about this. I don't have a problem with that. But the way that they are extracting resources, once the Black community is done with that, then the Asian community is going to have to do that. And then the Latino community is going to have to do that. And then like the poor white people community. And not everybody can participate. Not everybody can do that. So what's the end game? And I don't think that they're thinking in an end-game sort of way. And that's why we need an MLK or a Malcolm X, like some leader to actually give voice and channel this energy. And unfortunately, it's built in an Occupy Wall Street kind of way, the Black Lives Matter organic kind of outgrowth of it. It's decentralized. So you have these different radical communities that are just going to get as much as possible out of it before we pass on. And the bureaucrats are going to win in the end anyways.